Welcome back, and today we have another Amazon Knife of the Month pick, and it is the Monicala Assault Team #1. Never heard of this brand before, and I think this is their first design, and I was a little skeptical of this knife, but you definitely want to watch till the end. You may be surprised. You have a nice full-size EDC knife at 7.9 inches and a 3.44-inch drop point blade with a nice satin finish on it in 14C 28N stainless steel, one of my favorite of the budget steels. You got a nice compound grind, nice hollow here, and flat up here in the front to do a little bit more tougher task. In the hollow ground portion, it's around 20 to 22 thousandths, and in this flat ground portion, it's ranging from 32 thousandths to 34 thousandths at that tip. So a nice robust tip for doing heavier piercing tasks. You have a pretty aggressive row of jimping there. Definitely grabs a hold of the thumb. If that's something you like, you can overshoot it if you don't want to use it. You do have a sharpening choil, however, they did miss it a little bit. You can see it starting to flare out in the back right there. Something that I would have liked to see extended. Now, the crazy part about this knife is it's in 14C 28M blade steel, titanium scales, and it's only $35. So I'm pretty skeptical of this 14C and the titanium. So let's see how this thing performs. This knife came ridiculously sharp out of box and is slicing the cardboard effortlessly. Even though the drop point has a higher tip than I usually like, it's a little bit above the center line of that pivot. You still have enough straight edge to do this type of cutting. Maybe if you did longer runs of cardboard, you possibly could slide out, but so far so good. We'll just have to see if this 14C can hold up, or is it even 14C? But we'll find out, or we'll have a general idea. We're going to test the ergos and how well this edge wants to bite into this piece of birch. And since it had a phenomenal edge to it, it was biting into the wood rather quickly, and I was able to get a lot of force into the wood. It was fairly comfortable. It is flat scales, but no real hot spots to speak of. I just had a lot of power in the hammer grip. Now we move to the sisal rope, and this is where I'm kind of mind blown. You know, I know it has a good edge, but I am literally doing push cuts, and it is so effortless. It's just unbelievable. But I'm figuring, you know, it's probably going to run out of steam quickly. But to my surprise, it kept cutting and cutting and cutting. It had a lot of aggression to the edge. This is one of the better edges. I've tested 5 other knives before this, and so far this one's performing better than all those knives, and they're all triple the price of this knife. But very, very shocked. I ended up running out of this first piece of rope, and it was just still slicing so well. I grabbed another piece on side of me, and I do that twice. It's 2 smaller pieces, and we end up getting through 83 cuts. 83 cuts of sisal rope, and I even tested the edge after this. The edge is still good, and needless to say, I am just scratching my head in awe of how well this thing is performing. I could have definitely cut more than 80 cuts of the 1/2-inch sisal rope, but I still had more tests to do, so I figured I would, you know, give it a break there, since I don't usually go this far with most knives, especially not in 14C, but I am definitely wowed. So hopefully it'll keep it up to the rest. Because of that higher tip, I'm using the belly to do the drag cuts. It's just a lot easier than having to lift my hand up high to use that tip, but I don't mind doing that. And the edge still feels really good at this point, very slicey, and it's passing through all this material super easy. And whenever I get to the denim in just a second, I am just flabbergasted by the amount of bite and how sharp this knife still is. All I can say is for $35, I am super impressed, and just kind of scratching my head in awe. It's performed better than any 14C that I've tested in a long time. Always love getting these sleepers. Just don't say nothing, okay? That is unbelievable. So I'm mind blown to say the least. But let's take a look at the deployment in action. You have a dual deployment on here with the flipper tab and thumb studs. You do have some jimping on the flipper tab. It's got some snappy action, and it's not a drop shut knife, but it's perfectly fine with me. You have very snappy thumb stud deployment. I can't reverse flick it because the detent is dialed more for the flipping action. It is riding on ceramic ball bearings with a ceramic detent ball. Now let's take a look at the handle scale area. You have titanium scales, nice flat titanium scales, and I'm pretty sure I'm about 95% sure they're non-magnetic, and I will try to do some anodization on it later on and maybe a short. But the reason why I think these are titanium, besides them being non-magnetic, is because they have solid carbon fiber scales as well for like $30. Or you can get it in dimpled G10 for $24. Those are the only two variations still available right now. I'm not sure when these will come back in stock. But you have some speed holes to try to lighten it up some. Rather thick titanium scales. Now, if these are titanium, it's probably like grade 2 titanium, which is perfectly fine at this price point. You have a Torx T8 pivot here. Unfortunately, I have T6 body screws, but I did take this apart and I had no problems with those stripping out or anything. You do have a lanyard hole for all the lanyard people there. You have 3 standoffs in the back right here for some extra side-to-side rigidity on the knife. Flow-through construction, so if you want to blow it out with some compressed air, you can. Now let's see how much the speed holes lighten this up. So 116.8 grams or 4.12 ounces. Not bad at all. Now let's take a look at the lockup. It's sitting at around, I'd say 50% or so. It does have a hardened stainless steel lock bar insert there, so you don't have premature wear on that lock. And absolutely no play in any direction. Very solid lockup on my knife. The access to the lock bar is just okay because it is flush with the show side scale. You do have a chamfer on both sides, and if you use this portion of your thumb, it's not bad. But if you're going to use the tip of your thumb, it's not the most comfortable. I mean, it's not the easiest to get to. Size comparison with the Ontario Rat Model 1 and 2. Just a hair shorter than Cold Steel Engage 3.5 and almost identical to the Civivi Riffle. Just a hair shorter than the CJRB Scoria and almost identical to the Sencut Sashi. All right, nitpicks and complaints. Now, these are just nitpicks because this is a $35 knife. Like I said earlier, I think the jimping is a little aggressive, but like I said, you can't overshoot it. Also, I wish they would have given us a little bit more sharpening choil so it wouldn't start to smile in the back right there, widening up. But you can fix that yourself because it has an internal stop pin. Increase the lock bar access, but like I said, if you use the fat of your thumb, it's not terrible. And my knife came off-centered, which once again, for what you're getting here and how well this thing performed, I think it is not a problem in the least. And it's only tipped for right hand carry, tip up only. And they did not countersink those pocket clip screws. Now, do I think this knife is worth it? And do I recommend it? Highly, highly. I liked it so much that I just bought the carbon fiber version. I think this is a phenomenal knife at the price point it goes at. Like I said in the testing, it performed better than 5 other knives that I was testing at the same time, and all of them were 3 times the price of this, and they had quote-unquote better steel than this. So I don't know, I can't tell you if it is 14C, but I will tell you it did perform very, very, very well. It did perform better than most 14C that I've ever tested on this channel. And titanium or not, which I'm pretty sure they are, I still think it's worth the $35 price point. Like I said, if you don't want titanium, you can get the carbon fiber, and there's solid carbon fiber. I saw some of the pictures on people's reviews, and I bought one, so I got one coming. So, yeah, highly recommended. Love to hear y'all thoughts on this one. Always love finding these hidden gems on Amazon. It's not that often, but whenever I do, I definitely want to share it with y'all. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.